Hello everybody, welcome to the BOE Network. I had a reaction yesterday. We got a reaction today. We got one more tomorrow, and then I'm kind of going to see how it goes from there. I probably won't be doing reactions every day. That's not going to happen. I don't have the energy to do 2 channels that are reaction videos, so we'll see what this one's got in store. I'll do those 3, and then I'll probably take a break, and then we'll go back to another one. So, what's this one? Well, this one is not. Hold on. Top 20 movies that took forever to make. Are you guys ready? Let's go.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 movies that took forever to make.
Boring!
Dad, we can't see the movie.
For this list, we'll be looking at those films that were stuck in development for a very long time. Which movie that went through development hell was worth it? Let us know in the comments. Let's go.
Okay.
Number 20, Apocalypse Now, 5 years.
Are my methods unsound?
That's not so bad. There will be longer on this list, I know that.
I don't see any method at all.
There's an entire documentary entitled Hearts of Darkness, a filmmaker's apocalypse, which chronicles the lengths to which Francis Ford Coppola and his crew went to in order to get this film made, just to offer an idea of how grueling its long shoot was.
You smell that? Napalm, son! Nothing else in the world smells like that!
Of course, it should be noted that even though it was notoriously drawn out, Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut currently holds the Guinness World Record for the longest unbroken shoot period at 46 weeks. Yet this Vietnam War adventure had to push through production against all odds. Notably, after their sets were tarnished by a storm, Martin Sheen suffered a heart attack, and Marlon Brando arrived on set overweight.
Horror has a face, and you must make a friend of horror.
Despite the flurry of issues that threatened to shut the film down for good, Apocalypse Now went on to win the prestigious Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival.
I'm an American!
Number 19, Cronos, 8 years.
I don't know this movie at all.
This respected Mexican filmmaker bet everything on his first feature, and that's not an exaggeration. Cronos was on the back burner for a few years, as acquiring the funds for the unique vampire-themed film was anything but easy.
Quiero que sepas que de alguna manera, por alguna razón, sigo vivo. Y cómo me duele estar vivo.
With a budget of $2 million, Cronos was one of the most expensive Mexican films at the time, and director Guillermo del Toro had to take out a mortgage on his house and sell his car to fund the mechanism used inside the Cronos prop. While the movie...
I would love if they did a list of like top 20 biggest budgets for movies. I want to know what that list is. It probably does exist, but I wonder if they... It probably does this, but I don't know for sure. So I wonder if they did it.
It did not make back its money. Cronos showcased Del Toro's singular voice and put the director on the map. Number 18, Sleeping Beauty, 8 years.
Oh no, this is terrible.
With early...
This is another one where I haven't seen it. It's probably, but you know. 8 years for this time is probably a long damn time for a thing in 1959. That's probably a long time to keep pace on a movie.
Script work beginning in 1951, this Walt Disney classic suffered a number of rewrites before finally making it to cinemas in 1959, 4 years after its planned release date. But what really took the film 8 whole years to produce was its intricate animation process.
Now go with a curse and serve me well. Round Stephen's castle, cast my spell.
After the immense success of Cinderella, Walt Disney strived for the characters in this new project to appear as real as possible, near flesh and blood.
But we can't We can't go there.
To achieve this, an entire version of the film was recorded with real actors in costume for the animators to model their sketches upon, meaning they practically had to make the movie twice.
Touch the spindle. Touch it, I say.
Number 17, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time. Now,
I never knew this movie existed. Yeah, I have no idea what this one is. I've never... Seems like this is 9+. Did this movie come out?
9+ years. The rebuild of the Evangelion series was originally predicted to end by 2008, but only the first of 4 movies was out by then.
そんなのいつものことじゃない。そうやって心を閉じて誰も見ない。こいつの常套手段でしょ。ほっときゃいいのよ。どうせ行きたくもないけど、死にたくもないってだけなんだから。
The final entry in the series, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, debuted 9 years after
This guy, like the guy doing this has trouble saying this name.
its predecessor. The anime film's
I have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in your house, your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer, and...
Shut up, Mr. Beast.
film suffered numerous delays as Hideaki Anno struggled to find a direction to take the story's conclusion that felt true to the characters.
だから安心して。
そう。わかった。
Finally coming out in 2021, the anime movie was well received by critics and fans, bringing the
I didn't know it existed, so... Don't know what that says.
influential Evangelion franchise to a close on a satisfying and epic note. Number 16, The Simpsons movie, 9 years.
Worth the 9 years. This movie is freaking beautiful. I love it. I need to watch it again.
If you ask me, everybody in this theater is a giant sucker. Especially you!
Simpsons creator Matt Groening originally conceived a film version of the hit comedy to be developed after the series ended. The crew also attempted to turn the season 4 episode Camp Krusty into its own movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been to Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq, and I can say without hyperbole that this is a million times worse than all of them put together.
But ultimately, in 1997, Fox finally greenlit the project, and in 2001, most of the voice cast gave their okays. The writers then spent 6 months deciding on a plot, even considering a musical at one point, with the screenplay undergoing over 100 revisions.
This isn't the way I pictured Alaska at all. Oh, that's better.
Despite the delays, the result
That movie's worth the wait. Movie was worth it, man.
resulting animated comedy was a success on the silver screen, with appearances from almost every one of the show's roughly 320 characters, as well as the introduction of fan favorite Spider Pig.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does.
Number 15, Avatar, 10 years.
I don't know this one either. I know of it. I have never watched it.
You will have one chance, Jake.
How will I know if he chooses me?
Seeing how this sci-fi epic proceeded to become the highest-grossing film of all time, it's safe to say its 10-year production length was well worth it.
I will stand and fight. You know I will. But I need a little help here.
On the heels of his achievements with Titanic, director James Cameron worked with world-class visual designers to shape his alien race, the Na'vi. Once he realized how advanced his vision was for his original 1997 production start date, he spent the following years developing new 3D camera and CGI technology in order to properly bring the fantasy planet Pandora to life.
Come on! Come on!
Over 230 million and a plethora of technical breakthroughs later, an Avatar broke records and changed the landscape of the craft of cinema forever.
Everything is backwards now. Like out there is the true world. And in here is the dream.
Number 14, Roar, 11 years.
Oh, if I remember correctly, this is the one where doesn't this movie have one animal actually took out one of the crew members, or am I thinking of a different one?
Billed as the most expensive home movie ever made, this pick employed an assortment of untrained animals, including elephants, tigers, and a pride of lions, whom director Noel Marshall and his wife, Hitchcock starlet Tippi Hedren, had adopted to live on their Californian ranch.
What type of thought process is this movie? I'm sorry, I'm just saying this is death's waiting to happen.
The shoot began in 1974, but was struck by a setback when a flood destroyed completed footage and took the lives of several of the feline stars. What's more, 70 members of the cast and crew were injured by the animals featured in the film.
You could have died, Doc.
I mean, that's not shocking. It is untrained animals, so...
Me?
Shut up, I almost died.
The final budget was $17 million, but the finished film hardly spent a week in cinemas and grossed only $2 million. Ouch. Number 13, Boyhood, 12 years.
You don't want the bumpers.
I don't know this one either.
Life doesn't give you bumpers.
Perhaps the most famous film whose production relied on the passage of time, Richard Linklater's coming-of-age drama took 12 years to shoot.
I just feel like there are so many things that I could be doing and probably want to be doing that I'm just not.
IFC Films entrusted Linklater with a budget of $200,000, and each year from 2002 to 2013, a young Eller Coltrane would meet with Linklater and crew to record a time-lapse of his adolescence, his relationship with mother Patricia Arquette, and father Ethan Hawke, highlighting every essence of growing up.
You said that was going to be my car when I turned 16.
What? No, I didn't. I never said that.
From world events captured in the background,
I needed an online store for my jewelry design business, so Shop Here, powered by Google, built me one.
like President Barack Obama's election, to a soundtrack chronicling evolutions in radio pop. This cinematic breakthrough is truly a time capsule that can only exist because it took so long to make.
It's constant. The moments, it's like it's always right now, you know?
Number 12.
I cannot imagine if I am this kid being so dedicated to finishing a movie that the fact you go for your talent. So I bet you halfway through that movie, my ass would have been done with it. I'm like, you know what? Just find someone else to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, we need to tell them, like, then we start the goddamn movie. I don't know what to tell you. I ain't interested. I don't know. I can't imagine this one thing. Another movie that might not be for everyone, but this movie for me right now is worth 15 years waiting for it.
Mad Max.
Even though I was only alive for 14. You know what I mean?
Max Fury Road. 15 years.
Remember me?
George Miller, the mastermind behind the original Mad Max trilogy, spent years attempting to reacquire the rights to his franchise.
I am your Redeemer. It is by my hand you will rise from the ashes of this world.
He planned to begin shooting the action film in 2001, but the 9/11 attacks caused the Australian dollar to drop too significantly compared to the American dollar, and the project was scrapped.
You want to get through this? Do as I say. Now pick up what you can and run.
Miller then turned his focus to decidedly lighter subject matter, the musical penguin romp, Happy Feet.
Just a moment. I hear people wanting something.
Me! After years of development hell, where Heath Ledger was even briefly in talks to play Max, principal photography finally...
Oh, that would have been very fucking interesting. That would have been very interesting. Unfortunately, it could happen, but I think the guy playing it did it well.
Finally kicked off in the summer of 2012, with the fiery car chase film hitting cinemas in 2015. Unlike most films in the action genre, Fury Road received 10 Oscar nominations and took home 6 statues. Number 11. The Manson Family, 15 years. A fittingly challenging watch. The Manson...
I'm about to say, I guarantee this one's a hard one to goddamn watch in general if we even took a year.
Manson family is rough, illogical, and infuriating.
Next week on Crime Scene, we're going to bring you face to face with the evil few that forever poisoned the Love Generation, as I talk with the members of Charlie's family.
Jim Van Bever started working on this project in 1988, right after the director released Deadbeat at Dawn. But the Manson family would have a stop-and-start production for the next decade. Although screenings of the film were held in 1997, the Manson family had to wait until 2003 to officially come out.
We ignored the establishment and we ignored reality even more than before. We just continued on with the Magical Mystery Tour.
This movie is not for everyone and doesn't offer much psychological insight into the Manson family. However, its raw presentation makes for an effective and upsetting experience. Number 10, Pakiza, 16 Years. During the mid-50s, Kamal Amrohi started working on a project fueled by his love for his wife, Meena Kumari, a renowned Indian actress. Pakiza was almost an extension of their relationship, a movie that would showcase Kumari in as complete a way as possible.
Interesting.
In 1964, the film's production came to a standstill as Amrohi and Kumari separated. A few years later, the former couple agreed to complete the project, with Kumari asking for a single gold guinea as payment. Pakiza came out in 1972, less than 2 months before Kumari's tragic death at the age of 38. Number 9, Coffee and Cigarettes, 18 Years. Across nearly two decades, Jim Jarmusch would occasionally film shorts revolving around famous people talking over coffee and cigarettes. This project started in 1986 with a skit starring Stephen Wright and Roberto Benigni, and this short would go on to open the Coffee and Cigarettes film released in the early 2000s.
You don't go?
I should go, but I don't feel like going.
No? Steve, I am free now. Very free.
You want to go for me?
Split into 11 stories, Coffee and Cigarettes is funny, thought-provoking, periodically uncomfortable, and captivating. Like an anthology film, Coffee and Cigarettes has its share of ups and downs, but the film maintains a high level of quality throughout most of its runtime.
I was amazed because, you know, it was I didn't think many people would kind of get all the sort of the cultural references.
Number 8, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, 18 Years.
Don't know this one.
Centered on an advertising executive who jumps back and forth between 21st century London and 17th century La Mancha, the film is directed by Terry Gilliam, who's tried to make the film 8 times over the last 2 decades.
Got it wrong. We should scrap the whole campaign.
How can her? You're a great talent.
He's a genius. He's a visionary.
Its newest version stars Adam Driver and Olga Kurylenko and sees Driver cross paths with the eponymous hero played by Jonathan Pryce.
You are Don Quixote. Si, comprendo. No. Javier? Huh? You are Don Quixote.
Issues like equipment ruined by flooding, actor Jean Rochefort having to leave the production due to illness, and long-lasting troubles securing funds have kept his ambitious project in production hell. We bet Gilliam breathed the biggest sigh of relief once it was completed.
Oh no, please don't go sentimental on us now, Toby. This is going to be fun.
Number 7, 20 Years Later, 20 Years. In 1964, Eduardo Cucino set out to tell the story of João Pedro Teixeira following his assassination.
I don't know this one either. You're gonna be here now, I think.
In 1962. However, the rise of military dictatorship in Brazil put a stop to the film's production, and various people who worked on this project were imprisoned. In the early 80s, Cucino got the opportunity to conclude his vision, creating a documentary combining the original 60s footage with talking head segments. 20 years later, went from reflecting on a specific moment in history to a commentary on decades worth of political and social tension. Number 6, Tiefland, 20 Years.
this looks familiar, but I can tell you I've never watched it. I just don't, for some reason, that scene looks familiar.
World War II got in the way of this movie, and that's because its director, Leni Riefenstahl, put the shoot on hold to work on propaganda films for the Nazi regime. In fact, you may know her work from Hitler's Nuremberg Rally documentary, Triumph of the Will. Wartime destruction displaced the production several times. Thus, Riefenstahl had to relocate to Spain and the Czech Republic at several points in order to finish her work. Unable to pin down an actress of her liking, Riefenstahl even cast herself in the lead role, and later regretted it. By that point, she had just turned 40, while 23-year-old Franz Eichberger played her lover. All in all, the romantic picture took 2 decades to get on screen, still holding the record for the live-action movie with the longest production time.
Where it's going doesn't look worth it.
Number 5. AI, Artificial Intelligence, 20-plus years. Stanley Kubrick was no stranger to long production cycles, but this one took the cake. Inspired by Brian Aldiss' Super Toys' last All Summer Long short story, Kubrick started working on the adaptation in the 70s, with the film entering pre-production in the mid-90s. The project languished in development hell for years, and Kubrick did not commit to directing the film himself until the mid-90s. Unfortunately, Kubrick passed away before AI completed its production, with Steven Spielberg taking over directorial duties.
The Blue Fairy made Pinocchio into a real boy. She can make me into a real boy. I must find her. I must become real.
AI, Artificial Intelligence, was a passion project for Kubrick, and it deserved to see the light of day. Number 4. Silence, 26 years. One of the most prolific directors in the business, Martin Scorsese has consistently released films for the last 5 decades, and Silence was in the background for roughly half that time.
That's not
I don't know this one either.
possible. Father Ferreira risked his life to spread our faith all over Japan. We're here today because of him.
Based on a true story, Scorsese started to work on an adaptation of Shusaku Endo's Silence novel in 1990. But it would not be until 2006 that the director felt confident that he understood the book well enough to move forward with the script.
Padre, it is perfectly simple. Korobu. Have you heard that word? Korobu. It means fall down, surrender, give up the faith.
Following years of legal complications, Silence finally entered production in 2014, with the film coming out 2 years later to positive reviews. Number 3. The Thief and the Cobbler, 28 years.
I don't know this one at all.
Wait, Father! Something's happening!
Although several versions of this film have been released, we're going to go with the 1993 cut that's also known as The Princess and the Cobbler. This animated fantasy took a lifetime of work before it reached audiences, since animator Richard Williams took on outside jobs to raise money for his dream project starting in 1964.
Gentlemen, what a delight to meet you all here on such a fine night.
After a stream of story revisions and countless failures to secure funding, it wasn't until the 80s that Williams' work caught the eye of Steven Spielberg, who hired him to helm the Academy Award-winning Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
All right, Weasel, grab some sky or I let the judge have it. You heard me, I said drop it.
Although this helped him score a deal with Warner Brothers, a rough version of the film was deeply unsuccessful, leading producers to pull out. Loads of completed animation ultimately hit the cutting room floor before Williams was stripped of all control.
O greatest king of all the earth, this low-born cobbler of no worth attacked me in the square today. Shall we take his head away?
Number 2, Mad
Interested for that one. I don't know this one either.
God, 31 years. With credits dating back to films like Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, Phil Tippett has been a staple of Hollywood's visual effects scene for decades. During the production of RoboCop 2, Tippett began to work on a stop-motion project that would take more than 30 years to materialize. And the final cut is quite the trip. Stripped of dialogue, Mad God follows an unnamed assassin as he travels through a hellish wasteland filled with tragedy, destruction, and unspeakable horrors.
Sounds like a place I'd like to avoid.
Mad God's animation is spectacular and rich in detail, using its environments to present a world soaked in nightmarish ambience.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. The Other Side of the Wind, 48 years.
Woo! Almost half a century. Half a century to do that. Woo!
Intended to bring Orson Welles back into the limelight, the legendary director began work on The Other Side of the Wind in 1970.
Jake is just making it up as he goes along. He's done it before.
In 2018, 33 years following Welles' passing, the movie finally hit theaters. A mockumentary that takes plenty of shots at Hollywood status in the early 70s. The Other Side of the Wind had a cursed production that saw the film linger in legal red tape until the 2010s.
Excuse me, I'm afraid we're getting out of sequence. Someone must have given you the wrong reel.
Does it matter?
While Welles didn't get to see its completion, The Other Side of the Wind is part of film history that is now available for everyone to watch.
Do you agree with our pick?
Whoa. That concludes that reaction. Wow, the last one I did not think was going to take that. 48 years. That's insane, man. That is insane. But thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hit the like button, comment. Did you know any of these movies took that long? If not, what one surprised you? And yeah, subscribe to the channel. Alright. See you later.